Hello and welcome to Mirror Talk. We have moments where we just have to pause. Just pause and take a break and reflect on life. Remember, you are strong, you are enough, you are capable, you are blessed, and you are loved. Your moment of greatness starts now. Today, I am delighted to have a friend who is going to talk about finance and investments. Due to her thirst for international exposure, deep business knowledge, network, and career development, she successfully attained an MBA from Carnegie School of Management, Purdue University, and Gisma Business School. How are you doing, Rebecca?
Thank you, Toby. I'm happy to be here today. Thanks a lot for inviting me, and it's an honor to do this episode with you and share my knowledge with your followers and listeners.
You have this amazing YouTube channel where you enlightening us about finance. Can you tell us about, your work and the inspiration behind this channel?
So my YouTube channel it was born out of a deep desire to actually enlighten people about personal finance, because in my little journey in life, I've come across so many cases whereby people don't have the knowledge of how to manage money. Fine, they go to school, they get a first degree, second degree, or even a doctorate degree, right? They can even be like in the field of finance itself, or they can be senior people in corporate or doing well in their businesses. But the topic of personal finance is not something they really have a hang on. So that's one of the reasons why I decided, okay, this is something that we need to talk about. This is something that needs to be out there. There's not enough reasons why we should not talk about it. And because talking about money it's kind of in the actual world is still a little bit absurd. Like, people are shy to talk about the state of their money, the state of their finances, because they might think somebody would jeer at them, or say, oh, looking down at them or something like this. So I think it's actually a difficult topic, and I just believe that someone needs to take the bull by the horn and talk about it, because it is when you talk about it that you can educate people, and when you educate people, you are able to help them achieve what they want to achieve. And there is a saying that also says that when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And that's why I also believe that, especially for women, it's really important to talk about personal finance and see how they can manage their money and fare better.
That's exactly why I'm happy that you're here today, because, in the journey of self-improvement, everyone craves to, or everyone wishes to, have this financial stability. And my next question is going to be like, how can I draw an effective and efficient personal financial roadmap? How can I ensure that I have this financial stability and have a roadmap that leads towards it?
Good question, Toby. So one of the things I would say is that there's no perfect financial roadmap. However, you can draw up something that works for you and is efficient, like you said, and effective. It meets your needs, right? So that I just need to put that out there. That's really important. The second thing is that, first, I would like to break it down in a very basic way for anyone to really understand, because by the time you use the word roadmap, people will think, oh, the MBAs are here again, the strategists are here again, and then they go hulu, and it scares people away, because it's like a big grammar. I would permit me to use that word. But anyway, a roadmap is something, it's just I would say a kind of thought, a kind of sheet of paper where you have ideas of how you want to achieve a particular goal, So I would call that a roadmap for me, for the lay people. Therefore, a financial roadmap is something that before you can even say you want to sit down and create a roadmap, you need to first have a goal. You need to have a goal, because then when you have a goal, the roadmap will be a kind of a kind of system, a template for a system that would help you to achieve that goal. That's also important.
Yes.
So how can you, the question was, how can you create an efficient roadmap? Yes. So the first thing you will need to do is first identify what is your goal. Why would you need a financial roadmap, or for what purpose? What is the purpose of a thing? Because if you don't know the purpose of it, there's a tendency that you abuse it, or you come up with nothing at the end of the day. So you need to first identify your goal of drawing a roadmap. That's the second thing. And then that's the first thing. Then the second thing would be, what are the things that needs to be part of the roadmap, right? So, and then before you even go to what are the things that need to be part of the roadmap, you need to actually make a self-assessment of where you are right now. So in terms of your finances, where exactly are you? How much debt are you in? What's your investment status? How much savings do you have? What and where have you invested in what areas, or what's your investment portfolio is like? So you need to look at that. So that's actually the second thing. You need to assess where you are today. Now, the roadmap is now the journey between where you are now and what you want to achieve in terms of goal. All right. So a financial roadmap would now also be maybe something that's long term, right? And then, but of course, you can do a short term roadmap, but I would suggest that it's a long term. Now, inside that roadmap, you would want to look at some very key financial pillars, right? So you've accessed where you are right now. Then you begin to think about, to achieve that goal, how can you get there? So then you start thinking about what's your income status? How much are you earning? Is there other ways you can earn more money? What's your budget like? Do you have a budget? If you don't have, then you need to include that. That has to be, you need to drop something, to serve as a kind of cushion, or a kind of guide to how you spend your income. Then you need to, as part of your roadmap, you need to look at savings. How much money can I save, right? Where do I need to save? How do I need to save? Do I want to save in fixed term products, or do I want to just have a simple savings for some very urgent things? So you have to look at that. And then part of the roadmap would also be like your investment portfolio. You need to create an investment portfolio. You need to look at, okay, in what market do I want to invest in? Is it fixed income market in terms of stocks? Do I want to invest in rare materials like gold? Do I want to invest in shares and stocks in the capital market? So you need to look at something like that. You also, as part of your financial roadmap, you also need to consider your retirement plan, right? So there is a time in your life that you would not be able to work as active as you are now. So maybe as of today, you can go on, 6 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep. But as you grow older, you would require more sleep. You require more rest, which means the number of hours you can be active to work per day reduces as you age, right? So it's like it comes to it's like a nominal curve, right? It increases to a particular level, and then at some point it starts going down the hill again. So you need to look at that. So, and then you plan, when do you want to retire? What needs to be there? How do you want to retire? Do you want to retire living in a small house or being in a nursing home? How much does it cost? Will it cost you, to take care of yourself? Then do you want to, you don't want to maybe be a burden to anyone. So you have to look at that, at that retirement plan as part of your financial roadmap. And there are so many other things that you can actually include as part of your roadmap. So, but basically, that's the way, or that's what I would say about having a financial roadmap. I don't know if I answer your question. I'm able to answer your question the way you would have wanted.
Yeah, yes, that was really good. You made mention of short-term and long-term roadmap. Can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit? Like, what are the benefits of having short-term roadmap, and why is a long-term roadmap better, as you mentioned?
Okay, so a roadmap for a short-term goal would be maybe, so your roadmap, like I said, your roadmap can be a short-term one or long-term one, depending on the goal itself. Do you get? So if it's a long-term, so what I just described now is a roadmap for a long-term goal, because then I already included your insurance. I included your retirement plan, and of course insurance needs to be part of that roadmap as well. But then I was trying to say that I mentioned you including retirement as part of that roadmap, and retirement is a long-term thing because you're still young, right? So retirement is a long-term thing, and that's why I said you would want to include your retirement plan or retirement topics as part of that roadmap for that long-term goal. Now, for a short-term, if you're looking at a short-term roadmap, of course, it will also boil down to something like a short-term goal. So a short-term goal could be anything, right? It could be that you want to buy a car, you want to pay up a debt before in 2 years' time, or you want to, maybe you think you have some money now, and then you know that if you keep up at that particular pace, you're able to like buy a house and pay it up within a short time, maybe like 5 years. I don't know, if you have the money, why not? You can pay it up, So you're sitting down to plan how to to plan the different tools that will be a part of that goal, that will make you realize that goal, would be the short-term roadmap for that goal. Do you understand? So for example, like the case of buying a car, and you don't want to buy a car on credit. So you have to create a plan, a kind of roadmap. So, okay, what kind of car do I want to get? How much is it going to cost me? Where is the money going to come from? Right? And looking at you, at yourself today, okay, today, do I have a car or not? Okay, I don't have a car. So what are the things I need to do? And then you start to think of, what do I need to do to make sure that that car in 2 years, I'm able to afford it without credit? And then you put out your plans. Okay, I need to save this, I need to do this. While I'm doing that, it doesn't matter. I still need to separate money for my retirement, separate money for my investment, separate money for my all of these things, right? But then you look at, okay, how can I work on this short-term goal? Then you create a roadmap of how you want to achieve it.
You made mention of all of these plans now, and one thing that involves, one thing that it includes is saving money, saving up that fund, saving up that your income or part of your income, just to ensure that your roadmap or what you've set as a goal for yourself is being achieved. So I think I've already asked this question during one of your YouTube live, but I would love you to enlighten me more on it. Can you tell me or advise me on how to draw a line between being stingy to myself because I'm trying to get this car in 2 years' time, or get my pension, or get my pension at the end of the day, and being economical, yes, how can I draw that fine line between being stingy to myself and being economical?
Okay, so first I would say the two words can be very, sometimes you mix them up, like sometimes people mix them up, okay, stingy, economical, because at times it's difficult to say, okay, at what point do you draw the line between being stingy and being economical?
Yes.
However, in depending on the context you are looking at it, I would say in this context that we are talking about it right now, or about these two words, they mean different things. At least for me, they mean different things, and I would like to explain what they mean for me. Now, being stingy means that I can afford something and I am reluctant, or I'm unable to do it. I don't want to do it, right? But I can afford it. It won't really hurt me if I do it for myself. It won't hurt my savings. It won't hurt my investment. It won't hurt the other plans I have for my money, right? But I'm just reluctant.
Yes.
Right. Meanwhile, being economical means that maybe I'm not able to afford the whole packet of things, but I'm trying to make sure that the little I can afford, or the little I can cough out, I'm able to like cough it out or use it in a very reasonable way that I feel I get value for my money. And then I'm also able to take care of that personal need. So it's not from a place of, okay, I can afford it and I'm not doing it. Rather, it's from a case of, I cannot really afford it, but I cannot afford the big one, but then I can work my way around it in such a way that the little part of it that I can afford, I will do it, and then I will get value from it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, for example, maybe I book for myself every month massage to go for a massage every month, and then based on my income, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think once a month is fine, and I'm able to, maybe it's just like 1% or 0.5% or even 0.005% of my income.
Yeah.
I won't die. Like that 30 euros would be like 2 lunch for me, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. So and then, so I can budget like 30 euros to say I want to go for a massage once per month, right? And then when I can like it doesn't really pinch so much of my budget if I do that. But then I'm stingy when I decide to say, okay, yes, this 30 euros, I cannot afford it now. I don't want to do it. It's my body it's really taking so much energy to say I want to go now and do the massage for $30. It's too much. Meanwhile, it's nothing for my income.
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
Right? But then economical would be like, I have the option of doing a massage of maybe 100 euros, and then I have going to a spa of like 100 euros, and then luxury and all of those things.
Yeah.
And then I have the option of just doing a massage of 30 euros, but then they would also, the main thing I wanted, which is to massage, they are ready or able to do it for me. So now I cannot afford the spa thing, which is 100 euros, which is fine, but I can afford why I'm going to the spa is because I wanted a massage, and I can actually go to another place for that massage, and then let's go the spa experience right now, but then pay for the massage right now. So that point is me being economical. I'm not going for the expensive one. I just picked out the most basic, most valuable thing for me at that point in time of my life, which is the massage, and I went for the massage and I paid for it and I got it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. But then I'll become stingy when I'm like, oh no, I cannot even pay for that $30 or 30 euros massage.
Yeah. Even though you can afford it.
Yes, even though I can afford it easily, and it doesn't. I actually also need it because, maybe based on the kind of work I do, I just need that extra thing to make me more relaxed. To make my nerves, my body, my muscles more relaxed. Yes.
That's awesome. I mean, thank you so much for this illustration.
You're welcome.
It makes me picture it very well. As in, it makes me understand it in a much more easier way, because being stingy to yourself means you are denying yourself of some things, even though you can easily afford to do it for yourself.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't actually really hurt your finances. If it would hurt your finances, then it's a problem. But if it will not hurt you, like if it doesn't stop your savings, it doesn't hurt your investment and this and that, then why not?
Yes.
So it's just the reluctance of wanting to do it, but it doesn't hurt you. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Picking up from going to the spa. In a previous episode, a friend of mine was talking about impulse buying and how avoiding impulse buying could save you a lot of unnecessary debts. So do you have some tips on avoiding on how can I avoid being in debt? How can I avoid
being in debt? Okay.
Yes.
Good question. Thank you. Yes, your friend is right. Impulse buying is one of the main reasons why people go to debt.
Yeah.
Especially go into debt, especially when they are carrying around their credit card. You're like, oh, I have my credit card here, and I just swipe. I just need to swipe, and you keep swiping and swipe all your life.
Yeah. Until your account is empty or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then even the credit limit they have swiped everything off. So impulse buying is a major thing that causes people to go into debt. So the other things that makes people go into debt is like like real life things, really important, urgent things that people cannot avoid. Things just happen. So for example, maybe somebody just hit his car or something, and maybe the insurance the person has doesn't really cover the own damage he did, just the third party. So the car has to be repaired. And then if he doesn't have money to repair it now, but needs to repair it anyway, then it could lead into going into debt. So there are genuine reasons why people go into debt. So that's an example of that. Or maybe, for example, we are blessed. We live in Germany where you have like a social kind of healthcare, and once you contribute to the social security system, you have access to at least the basic healthcare. You're taken care of. You can go to your doctor and all of this. But in some other countries, for example, in the US, in Nigeria, the case is not like that. The cost of healthcare in those countries are not little. They are high. So, for example, if someone falls sick in those countries, they have to like cough out the money to take care of themselves in places like that.
Yes.
So, and those kind of things, unexpected health crisis could cause or could lead people into debt. And when someone is sick, you don't even want to think about the money. You don't care. You want to like get the person ill first before you start talking of, okay, so how much money are we now talking about? How much debt are we talking about? That's it.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
So that's that. But then there are some other things that, causes people into debt. And maybe those are the things that we can control. For example, the impulse buying causes people to go into debt. Like, you just okay, I'm going into town, I'm just going to the city center, to the downtown, and then you just say, oh, I'm just doing window shopping. Before you know it, you're entering a store. Oh, I like this shoe. Oh, I like this wristwatch. And you start buying and buying. And even the salesperson will go, do you want to buy this also? Do you want to buy this also? And this is also nice. And then you keep buying. And that's a major problem. And then the second, these other reasons why people go into debt is they also go into debt. Maybe, for example, if there's a case of fraud. So if somebody's account is wiped off, and then they don't have money to take care of themselves, then they have to like borrow money to keep up take care of themselves. So that's another point why people go into debt. Another reason why people go into debt is that when we are not able to track our spending, like when we are not able to, when we don't have a budget, you don't have a budget that you're working with. So with a budget, you're able to track what comes in and what goes out. But if you're not tracking what comes in for you, you might be overspending and not even know it that you're overspending.
Yes.
So lack of budget also make people go into debt, or let me say lack of tracking of finances. When you don't track your finances, then you're more likely to go into debt. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. This is quite important because I wanted to have like some tips on how to avoid unnecessary debts. Like, but you said it already. Like, we should once meant to have like a financial plan and say, okay, I'm not going to spend this amount of money, or I'm not going to do this or do that because I don't get into any unnecessary debts.
Maybe before we I need to before we go into maybe I should mention one or two more things, right? Why people go into debt. Okay. It just occurred to me right now. So another reason why people actually go into debt is because they are trying to deal with the syndrome of social acceptance, for example. So like you're trying to impress other people. You understand? And then you overspend your budget, or you overspend your income, and then you're into debt. You're trying to keep up with a life that you cannot afford. So so it's actually a very big issue, especially for our generation, because we see a lot of things on social media, we see a lot of things on the TV, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, everywhere, on Facebook, Snapchat, and then you want to have the life of the other person, right? And then you because of that you make purchases that you don't necessarily need. And that is why you have to avoid impulse buying. You have to have a budget, because also with a budget you are able to know what's most important for you, what is your needs and what's your want. I made a video on that some time ago. Like, you need to identify what's actually most important for you to have, and what is the nice to have. And if that thing is not under those two categories, then you maybe want to check your decision before you spend that money.
Well, knowing this now and having a budget will save me from going to unnecessary debts.
Yes. Having a budget is very key. It's a very important thing in terms of financial planning, personal finance. It's just a very basic. I tell people it's like a foundation.
Can you also educate me on emergency funding? How can I create and maintain an emergency funding? What is emergency funding?
I think you heard that emergency funding the last time we spoke. The last time on my live YouTube. This thing.
Yes, but I still want to learn more from it. Like, what is it? What is that?
Okay, so emergency funding is like a sum or an amount of money that you set aside to take care of your emergency needs that you're not prepared for. That it's not part of so those needs that arise that are not normally in your monthly budget, but then all of a sudden you just realize, okay, you have to take care of that need, right? That is what you use your emergency funding for. So for example, I mentioned a case of, like, when in the last question I answered about how to avoid, what are the causes of debt or why people go into debt, I also mentioned that I've said there are some things that they happen, you don't even plan for them, but they just happen, and they need to be taken care of because they are either basic life things or they are life-threatening things. So I mentioned people falling sick or like having car accident or something like this. So nobody plans to fall sick. Nobody plans to have an accident. But these things happen. And when they happen, you want to be sure you have some kind of money that could take care of them without you using your credit card or without you having to borrow from someone else to take care of them. And that is what an emergency funding is for. So now, what's an emergency fund? Emergency fund is an amount of money you set aside that you're not touching, you're just leaving it there. You could put it in some kind of liquid investment, and then you are able to access this emergency fund when the needs arise. And there are specific needs that you attach to your emergency funds. Like I said, when you have a car breakdown and you needed to take care of it, or when you have when someone falls sick and then needs to be taken care of, if there is no insurance, or maybe there's a sudden urgent need that needs to be taken care of, and then you just have to be taken care of. It cannot wait.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things you tie to your emergency funds. Now, how do you create it? There are two. One of my financial mentors, Dave Ramsey, in one of his books, said there are two ways you create the small one. So this is how I understand it. You create a small one, right? Maybe like kind of $1,000 amount first, and then so any urgent thing that could not wait, as a starter, you can use that $1,000 emergency fund to take care of it. Right? But then on a long-term basis, you want to look at something more solid. So you could be looking at like 6 months of your 6 months salary, 6 months of your 6 months of your monthly income. So for example, if you're earning like $3,000, you're looking at 6 times 3, that's $18,000. Dollars. Some in a place somewhere that you can reach out to when you need it for those things, right? So you have, that is an emergency fund. And like I said, your emergency fund, you don't have to like say, okay, because it's emergency fund and then you are not gaining any amount on, like, just not gaining any interest on it. You can put it in a bank account and still get some interest. But the most important thing is that when you need it, you have to be able to easily access it. But then you have to also make sure that it's not easily accessible for the things that you don't need. So for example, now, when you have that emergency fund, I wouldn't expect you to have a debit card that can easily have access to it, right? However, you can have a card for it, but then you know that it's not somewhere you can easily access. Maybe it's away in your safe. I know one woman, I heard of a story of one woman who trying to, in the bid of trying to save herself from using credit card. You know, she had collected so many cards she has used, and she's in so much debt. She was in so much debt that she had to put her credit card in the freezer. So I mean, in the freezer, and then it's all blocked up and all of that. So if she has to use that credit card, thinking about the stress of the first thing, bringing it out, and all of that, she would have decided on something else, right?
Yeah, of course. Wow, that's a very good trick, actually.
I'm like, what? Like, wow. What I do? Okay, like, but then, I mean, it's a crude way of going about it, but she had to do what she had to do.
Yes.
And I cannot beat her for it, for doing that, because she really needed to get out of debt, and she really needed to like cut that habit of just spending on a credit card. The only way that she could go about it was doing that process. Okay. So back
freezer cards.
Yeah. So back to the emergency fund thing. So I said that you make sure that you don't have any card that will give you easy access to it, but then you have something that when you need it, you are able to access it. And that's why I said you can look for you can put it in a kind of fund or in a kind of savings account where if the need arises, you can actually have access to it. And that's how we created an emergency fund. And another thing is that, so you don't have to like go hungry the whole month while you're trying to save up for your emergency fund. It is you that you know, okay, this is okay. For example, using the example of the person with $3,000 per month as income, right?
Yes.
The person says, okay, I need an emergency fund of $18,000, but I cannot say I would go hungry for the next 6 months, right? So the person can decide to, you know, put aside $1,000 per month for the next 18 months until that emergency fund is full. And that doesn't mean that the other things will not be taken care of, right? So you can already start taking care of part of your investments, so maybe after the $3,000 every month, the person still has, like, I don't know, on a monthly basis, maybe like $1,200 left to do whatever he wants to do. So you can say, okay, I'll put $600 into investment. I'll put $600 towards my emergency fund. And then the moment that's 18,000 is complete, or the remaining 1,200 every month, you put it inside some investment or some other thing.
After saving the 6 month salary as an emergency fund, do I still have to keep on adding to that money, or I'll say, okay, that's enough?
I would say, if you feel that, okay, whatever happens, if you lose your job within 6 months, you're able to get another one, and then I would say 6 months is fine.
Yeah. So,
like I said, the rule of thumb, there's no law or anything saying it cannot be less than 6 months or it cannot be more than 6 months. There's no rule of law saying that. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that based on your own personal preferences and personal needs. Yeah. You want to make sure that you're doing something that doesn't have to make you feel like you're being stingy to yourself.
We're back to that. Yeah. yes, I understand. Thank you so much. Now I'm a little bit much more enlightened on emergency funding, and I'm going to work towards that too. Making investments is quite important for financial growth, but it can be very risky because of a lot of fraudulent activities. You made mention of it already. Can you give me like tips on how to make wise and dependable investments?
The world of investment, it's all about risk. There is no, if you see any investment that they are telling you, oh, there is no risk, your money is all safe.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that you should run for that investment, because there is 100% risk that you're going to lose that money. So, and that's really basic. For every investment, there is a risk. The only thing you can do is to make sure that you reduce your risk in investment by first making your research. Research is very key. Knowing before you do any form of investment, you have to make your research in terms of knowing what you're investing into. If you do not understand that product, if you do not understand what it is about, don't do it. Don't do it. Warren Buffett to say, if a sector that it doesn't understand, or a product that it doesn't understand, it doesn't invest in it. So that stories that touches their heart will not come up. And then nobody's there to tell you that, dude, didn't you know? You get what I'm saying? So you have to, and that is the first thing. You have to be able to understand the product or the sector you're dealing with. And that also helps you in terms of fraudulent activities, right? Because most fraudulent activities, by the time if you actually take your time to actually research and understand the thing, you would see red flags. But because most times we make investment decisions, sometimes we make investment decisions on not having a deep understanding of what you are doing, and sometimes we make the decisions in a haste, right? Because we make it in a haste, we are not able to see the red flags. They will be there. They will be staring at us in the face. But then because of that urgency of, okay, I just want to invest this money now because I heard that it's going to give me 100% in the next 30 days and I'll be rich, and then I'll turn it over again and I'll be rich again. You understand what I'm saying? So
I understand.
Yeah. So you have to research, understand what you're doing, and don't make investments on impulse.
Yeah.
For example, also if you're into investing in the stock market and you see a particular stock going up, like the price is going up, everybody's running into it.
Yeah.
Someone said, before you make before you make a bet on that investment, stop, get a paper and a pen, write your thoughts down on that investment, close it, close the paper and the pen. When you get home, or the following morning, open it. If you still have the same urge like you did yesterday, so much high urge like you did yesterday about the investment, then maybe, but then by the time you close that book, it's not that you will not think again about that investment. Of course, you think about it, you read up about it, you look at people behind it, you see the kind of market you try to understand it. So that time of you closing that platform that you're normally used to like invest, close it, forget it, don't touch it. Think about that investment. Look at the people behind it. Who are the drivers? Are they known people? Even if they are not known people, do they come as credibility? The internet today, on the internet, you can find millions of billions, zillions of information, right? So for me, before I buy any product that I want to use, maybe a digital product, I'm always checking people's review. I always check reviews. It's important because I believe that for someone to write down a review, maybe not one person, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons, so I've written down a review. If the person thing is good or bad, then it means that there has to be something. It's like it's good or bad. I mean, you cannot all be having bad reviews for a product, and you come and tell me the product is good. It's not possible.
No, not possible.
So the same way, you have to do your own personal review of that product. Like, go check who are the people, what is it, what is the sector, also try to check what is driving this craze. What is driving it. will it come down? Will the price come down after this euphoria has gone? Those are the kind of things you look at. The following day, you open the book again and see if you're still interested in putting your money into that thing. If you still have the urge to put your money into it, then it's okay. At least you've ruminated about it, you've thought about it, you've tried to convince yourself. And if you're able to convince yourself in a very calm situation that, okay, I'll go for it, then you should go for it. But if your mind is struggling with that investment, with that product, then maybe you don't want to go into it. Yeah. So it's really important that you check things up. And that's why, for example, in the MMM case that happened in Nigeria, and so a lot of people actually made money out of it.
Yeah.
Right? But then a whole lot more people lost money. And maybe that's the other thing I should mention, which I think is really important, is that in investing, don't invest just on emotions. Don't invest based on emotions. Don't invest based on social acceptance. My friend is doing it, I'm also doing it. Don't do it. Do not do it. Don't invest because you're trying to save your face. If you don't have the money for the investment, you don't have it. It's as simple as that. Nobody is going to dip their hands into your pocket and bring out that money to the investment.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Don't let anyone do a kind of emotionally blackmail you into investing. For example, say, there's this product I'm investing into, or there's this thing that I'm investing into. If I've invested into it, if you also invest in it, then I'm a level higher, and then you will be, and that's a little bit of a kind of multi-level kind of marketing, but they will tell you it's an investment.
Yeah.
And then because maybe the person is now maybe your friend or your family, and because you're trying to feel mushy, it's my family, it's my friend, I don't want to hurt the person, I want to support the person. Go and look for that way to support the person. Don't support the person by throwing money away.
Yeah, that's true.
No, don't do that. Don't invest based on emotions. So I'm not saying that you should not look at your intuition, your gut feelings. If you're a Christian, when the Spirit tells you things, right? I'm not saying you should not do that. But also look at the figures. Look at the logic behind it.
Yeah.
Another thing is about investment is that another way you want to make sure that you're making wise and dependable investment is that don't invest in something that does not have an asset behind it or a product behind it.
What does that mean? Like what product?
So for example, I'll go back to the MLM thing. Yes. Is it MLM or MMM? I don't know.
MMM.
MMM thing. So people, you invest your money, and then I don't know how it operated. I only heard about it when the thing almost blew, and I'm like, how did you people even get?
How did you get to know about this?
I'm like, what? Who did this to you people? How did you?
Like brainwashing or something.
Yes. How did he even get here? So, but then I realized. So when they were, I think the person that was telling me also wanted, I'm like, so I said, so what is the product? Like, if I drop this 100K now, am I going to get a product? Am I going to get a certificate? Am I going to get something? So there's no tangible products behind it. So
nothing to hold on to.
Yes. So it might not be tangible in terms of physical. It could be tangible in terms of digital, So for example, investing in stocks or investing in shares of companies, nobody's going to say, okay, this nobody's going to cut the company into pieces and they will give you, okay, this is your own part of the company. No. Maybe they will send you some share certificate and that's all you have for that company. But then you know that there's an underlying asset behind your investment, because if I put money, if you have a startup now, you have a startup, you have a company, and I say, okay, based on equity, I invest some money into the company. I know that I have 10% of that company. So there's an underlying value. So by the time you are doing your financial report on a yearly basis and you're getting profit, 10% of that profit after tax is mine. So that's an underlying value. What I'm investing is your company. I'm not investing in some kind of lofty ideas of, oh, okay, yeah, you bring money and then you go and look for 10 more people and then those ones will pay you and then those ones will now go and find that 10 more people and then they will pay. No, there's no underlying asset behind it. There's no underlying product behind it.
Yes.
But in the case of a share or a stock, right, getting something back from the company. So it's either I'm getting some dividend back when they make their profit after tax and there's money left, they'll pay me some money. Or after some years, the shares would have increased in price and I'm able to sell and then I get some money back.
Yeah.
So I'm investing in that. So I don't know if you understand. This is I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but this is it's a very basic. It's really basic in investment. You don't invest in something that doesn't have an underlying asset or underlying value. Don't do it. And don't let anyone emotionally blackmail you into putting money where your heart is not. Don't do it. Don't let any family member, friend, church member, anybody, don't let them do it to you.
The key word you have to, for me is research, make your findings. Don't be blackmailed emotionally or physically.
Yeah. Don't invest based on emotions. Don't let anybody emotionally blackmail you into and don't do it based on social acceptance. Oh, my friends are doing it, I also want to do it. Don't do that.
I've learned a whole lot from you this evening already. I've learned a whole lot from you at this moment already. Can you give me like some more practical tips on financial growth? Are there other things that you've not made mention of or I've not asked from you that could be very, very important or vital for my financial growth?
You have to, for you to be able to grow financially, you have to be strategic about it. You cannot wing it. You cannot just say, okay, I'll just manage it. Anywhere I land is where I land. You just find yourself landing in the ocean one day or in the desert.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah, so you cannot,
That'd be very bad.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to you have to sit down and actually think about, and that's why it was good you asked that question about roadmap. You have to think about where you want to go to. What do you want? What do you want your life to be like? Like what do you want out of life? You understand? So I'm not saying that you build houses everywhere and then you lose count of the number of houses you have or something. No, I'm not saying that. It might just be like you have just one house, but maybe your investment is in so many other things, and then they bring returns for you, and you're able to use the returns to do what you want to do. So that's one thing. And then another thing is that it's not about you just growing, it's also about you giving. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to sow. You have to, it's not about just accumulating wealth to yourself. I mean, you're not going to, when you die, you're not going to go to the grave with the money. It's not going to be here at the end of the day. So of course, you also want to think about how to give back, even in that little space that you are. You want to look at how to give back, and that would help you in terms of financial growth, because the more you do, the more you see ways to give back, and the more you actually give back. It's a law of abundance. More comes to you.
Yes.
it's a natural law of abundance. You would get more. Now, I'm not saying you should give out to this point of you becoming poor, but nobody even gives out. Like, you don't give out until you are poor. I don't know if that's true, but like, you will give out with sense, right? But
yes,
there's a lot of fruit in reward in giving out. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is that, like I mentioned before, is that you have to be strategic. You have to sit down and count your cost and losses. Like, count, where are you? Assess yourself. How are you spending? Think about it. Think about where you are. You understand? Because you can have all the lofty ideas of where you want to be, but if you're not really truthful about yourself and where you are right now, it will be difficult for you to actually walk your way into that goal you want to have. The roadmap will just be there. The roadmap will be staring at you in your face. You will be staring at it in the face, and then you grow old, and then you throw away the roadmap because the roadmap will never comes.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, and that would be exactly, that would be really sad. So you want to look at that. And then another tip I would say is that you have to look at budgeting. You have to budget. Budgeting is really important. And if you think, okay, paper and pen doesn't do it for you anymore these days, there are a lot of financial apps right out there that you can use. You just have to make your research. For a start, you can get something that doesn't cost much. That doesn't cost much. That's maybe even free. For example, YNAB, for a start, it's free, and then I think at some point you start paying. But you can track your finances on your mobile phone, on your smartphone, and see what's if you are staying with a budget or if you're out of your budget, right? And then you also have to. Another tip would be that you should have an accountability partner. And that accountability partner could be anyone, would be someone that you can actually talk to. So it could be your financial advisor, but maybe not a financial advisor in that sense, because a financial advisor would I'm not a financial advisor, right? I'm just I'm just someone that likes talking about personal finance, because like I said, I believe that a lot of people need to hear what I have to say or the things I know, and I hope that this particular podcast is going to bless people and help them to actually reorient themselves in terms of how their relationship with their money. So I'm not a certified financial advisor. However, so maybe a financial advisor you have to pay the financial advisor for helping you to like structure your investment portfolio and all of this, and advising you, okay, you should do this time, you should not do this time, and right.
Yes.
However, your financial advisor can be your accountability partner. However, you can also have someone else that is not necessarily a financial advisor. Maybe somebody of a like mind, somebody who is even more exposed than you are in terms of things like this. And then you can sound ideas with the person, the person can bounce ideas with you, and then the person holds you responsible if you're fulfilling what you said you set out to do or not.
Yeah.
She understands. So the person helps you in your journey of that financial independence or financial freedom, whatever you want to call it, or financial stability. So you have someone who you're talking to, who is guiding you, who is mentoring you or coaching you, or I don't know, making you responsible, making you take responsibility for what you say you want to do, and helping you to achieve your goal. And
someone's giving advice or something.
Yes. So the person might not really be an expert in finances. The person might just be a friend of yours, but you know that the person is serious about life, and the person wants your good, right? So you can say the person can be your accountability partner. Okay, and you can say to the person, okay, you know what, I am thinking of making a down payment for my house in the next 2 years, and I don't know. I have ideas already how I want to go about it, and these are the things I want to do. What do you think? What would you advise? And then you and the person can bounce ideas. Like I said, this person might not necessarily be a financial advisor, but then the person might have just some more exposure, know some certain things more than you do, and then you gain insight from this person. And then you have you after discussing with the person, you have action plans on what you're supposed to do, and then this person owes you. So whenever you are having the talk again about this particular topic, about you buying a house, right? You're able to tell the person, okay, this is my progress. This is what I've saved. This is what I've not saved.
Yeah.
And the shame of going into that meeting and not messing up. We want to make sure that you do it. You do what you said you were going to do before you go into the next meeting with that person. So you should also be someone that you respect.
Your assignments. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So to be someone that you would also respect, Okay. So that's about accountability partner. And make sure that the person that is your accountability partner, like I said, is someone that is respectable to you, like someone that you want to, someone that holds you to a high standard, and you hold the person to a high standard, and the person is able to call you out on your actions if you're not sticking to what you plan to do. And the other thing and that tip for financial growth would be that you have a financial architecture or a roadmap. I don't know if I had mentioned that before. And also you could also journal about your money, like write things down. So maybe before you go to bed, write things down about the good thing you did today about your finances, or the bad decision you made about your finances, or what you're grateful for about money, So, and then write down, okay, maybe what you plan to invest in, what you plan to save, things that are coming to your mind,
Yes.
So put all of those things down. And then, because then money journaling helps you to have a kind of, I'll say, a kind of relationship with money. So you are
yes.
Having discussion on paper and pen with it, and saying, okay, today this was a very good decision that I overcame the urge or the temptation to buy this thing, although I was almost buying it, but I thought about what Rebecca said and I was able to control myself. I did well, and maybe you can gift yourself an ice cream, a small ice cone for winning that battle. And yes. So you should do that as well.
Wow, that's a good tip.
Yeah, those are the things I would suggest you do.
I've learned so much from you already, and with this I can, improve my financial growth, or I can, work on my financial stability. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for your time.
Yeah, we're welcome. There are so many things we could actually talk about in terms of finances, but I think we could talk about it some other time. For example, today I didn't mention anything about the different ways you can actually pay off your debt. I didn't mention anything about insurances. People think, insurance is just a waste of money. I don't need it. They're just collecting my premiums. But when things happen, when shit happens, permit me to use that word. When things happen, when it goes down, sometimes insurances can be of good help for you. They can actually help you to cover some things, And so, for example, apart from insurances for material things, we could also talk about life insurance. There's so many things, or term insurance. There's so many things we could talk about. Third-party insurance and all of those things that we could talk about. For example, in Germany, you are supposed to have a third-party insurance in case, so that when you break somebody else's things, you don't have to cough out that money from where it doesn't exist, but that third-party insurance helps you to take care of it, kind of, So insurance, we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about taxes today. There's so many things, like I said, that we could have talked about, but we just have to deal with the time that we have, and then hopefully, if we have some other time, I would be more than happy to come back again and talk more on specific topics.
Yes, that would be great. And before the next time that you come back to educate me or educate us on more stuff, where can we find you? What are your platforms? I know you have your YouTube. Tell us about your Instagram also and other platforms that is preferable to you or also connect with you.
You can find me on IG. Just look for Finance with Buki on Instagram. But I have a YouTube channel where I talk about things like this, personal finance topics and career. And I'll be more than happy if you can check out my YouTube videos. And if you have any questions that you would want me to talk about, right? You can drop it in the comment sections of all my videos. I check it regularly, like every day. Once somebody drops a comment, I receive it. And then I can pick it up and then reply back, or I can actually make a video out of it or a topic out of it for whoever wants to have it. So, and I mean, it's free to subscribe on the channel and also click on the notification button. But also, if you want to learn more about how to go about your money, how to grow financially, how to achieve or attain financial stability, and you don't want to grow old and be thinking, my children are my investment kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, you grow old, but you're able to also take care of yourself. In fact, you'll be a blessing to your own children and maybe to your grandchildren. So those are the kind of things I want to do, or I do on my channel. And you can find me there in those two places. And also, of course, you can connect with me on Facebook. Just type Bukola Obikunle. My surname is not so popular, so there are a few Obikunles out there. Just type for Bukola Obikunle. The finest girl amongst them is the person you would meet.
Of course. But thank you so much. I mean, I'm going to make sure that I put all of this, your contact information in the show notes of the podcast. And everyone, it would be so great if you could connect with her on any platform of your preference and get to learn more from her or ask her more questions that we're not able to cover during this section.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toby. And once again, I'm Buki Rebecca Obikunle, and I'm really happy that you invited me. I'm really happy that I'm able to speak to your audience, and I hope everyone today can actually take one or two things away from this talk show.
Yes, I mean, I've been able to take a lot from it, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks a lot, Toby. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I am eternally grateful for your time, your love, and contributions. You mean a lot to me. Thank you once again for listening and sharing with your loved ones. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this journey on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms in the description. Stay blessed.